All aboard!
Before airplanes and before cars, the people of our country traveled mainly by train. And with such a vast country at our disposal to explore and settle, the United States decided to build a railroad that could take people to the far reaches of our growing nation. It was called the Transcontinental Railroad, trans meaning across and continental meaning continent. So as you can see, it means across the continent. Originally, it was referred to as the Pacific Railroad because it would stretch all the way to the Pacific Ocean. The massive railway stretched all the way from Council Bluffs, Iowa to San Francisco, California. This historic railroad was built between the years of 1863 and 1869 and ended up being 1,911 miles long. Building it was hard work, and the bosses were mean.
Come on! Harder! Let's go! Faster! Move! Work! Come on!
Irish American immigrants built the railroads from the east. And Asian American immigrants built it from the west. The two sides met in the middle at Promontory, Utah, and completed the task by driving a final golden spike. Now you might think that Utah doesn't seem to be right in the middle. It's actually farther west than the halfway point. That's because the Asian Americans had a much more difficult task, because they had to build railways with the Rocky Mountains in their way. In order to do this, they would have to use dynamite to blow holes through the mountains to make tunnels for the tracks. This was dangerous as they would lower their workers in wicker baskets over the cliffs so they could set the explosives exactly where they needed them. Sometimes it would work. Sometimes it wouldn't. Both sides dealt with grueling and dangerous conditions, and it was this type of hard work that spawned legends like that of John Henry.
Well, come on, John. You're the one that we're depending on. Swing that hammer with all your might. I know you can show 'em how to do it right.
John's hammer rang out and the tall tales grew.
John Henry, John Henry, John Henry is a mighty man, born with a hammer, a 10-pound hammer,
A 20-pound hammer.
right in his hand. I heard John's mama liked to sew at night, so he pulled down the moon for a little bit of light. Took a lot of cooking to keep John fed.
10 dozen eggs and 8 loaves of bread.
John Henry, John Henry, John Henry is a mighty man, born with a hammer, born with a hammer, born with a hammer. He plowed the earth so wide and deep.
The seed he sowed, the ground had to keep.
His hammer hit the earth with such a mighty blow. Everything is better when John properly grows.
The whole construction of this magnificent railroad was really something. And here is a virtual brochure to tell you more about the Transcontinental Railway.
All aboard!
The trip starts in Council Bluffs, Iowa, and Omaha, Nebraska. As you begin your journey in this area, you'll experience miles and miles of rolling hills and miles and miles of rolling hills. And because of the new Homestead Act, feel free to get off the train and settle down on any part of it. You can get up to 160 acres for free. But if you decide to keep going, You'll head directly west for a few days and reach Cheyenne, Wyoming. From here, you'll experience the beauty of what is now Yellowstone National Park and eventually travel through the mighty and majestic Rocky Mountains. Keep heading west for a day and you'll enter Utah and end up at the Great Salt Lake. It's so salty you have no problem floating in it. After you dry off, you'll head southwest through miles and miles of desert to Reno, Nevada. Maybe you'll run into Johnny Cash.
But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die.
Keep heading southwest into California and you'll find yourself in Sacramento. Perhaps you can strike it rich since the gold rush is still in full effect. Speaking of gold, you'll end your trip in beautiful San Francisco. I hear they'll be building a bridge soon. Maybe you can suggest they make the gate golden. As far as the cost and comfort of your trip is concerned, we offer 3 different travel packages. A first class ticket costs around $135 and includes a parlor car, a sleeping car, and a dining car. First class meals include menu items such as braised duck Cumberland, curry of lamb madras, and even lobster. Second class tickets cost around $110 and get you a padded upholstered seat and maybe a cot to sleep in. You can eat in your train seat, maybe a sack lunch, and cold coffee. Finally, our third class tickets cost around $65. For this, you get to ride and sleep in the back storage cars. Your daily meal includes, well, stale bread and maybe some rice and beans. We don't recommend third class, but you will save money. Before the Transcontinental Railroad was built, it would take a stagecoach 25 days to make this same trip. But with this new railway, it only took 4 days. Still crazy to think about because nowadays we can jump on a plane and make that same trip in about 3 hours. A first class ticket price of $135 back then would be the equivalent of $2,400 today. Even a third class ticket of $65 would cost about $1,100 in this day and age. That's probably why so many people didn't head out west. And if they did, many people still tried to do it by horse and wagon. But if you've ever played Oregon Trail, you know that it's a lot quicker and safer to fork over the big bucks and travel by train.
Don't everybody thank me at once.
Come with me.